like you and the healer work together. Like obviously like with the DPS, but like the DPS are kind of like meh, you know, like they're there. Sorry, DPS. But like you and the healer really have to be like in communication, working together, and have like a good relationship, especially in like the higher end dungeons where like me literally dying, you know, and the healer not having enough mana or whatever. Like there has to be that level of communication there. I did Stone Vigil earlier too, and the healer actually had a really hard time keeping me up, and so when I died on the first one, I was like, hey, like I'll pull a little bit smaller. It's my bad, sorry. And they were like, no, like I just couldn't keep up. So I slowed down and I waited, you know, I didn't pull, you know, I kept pulling kind of big. And then we died again and they were like, sorry. And I was like, hey, like, listen, like, it's fine. You know, like we're lower level, you know, maybe we don't have as many buttons. And they were like, well, I'm learning too. I was like, that's also fine. Like if you're learning and we'll just, you know, I'll do 2 packs, I'll keep it slow. Like I'm fine with that, you know, but like I feel like most tanks, there's such an ego that comes with being a tank that I'll never understand. Like I don't understand why like there's that ego piece where people are like, I'm the tank, you have to follow me if you do what I say, blah blah blah. Like that's just it hurts tanks, you know. I think at a certain point I do have a bit of an ego, like I don't think it's like an aggressive ego like you'll find in some people's. Like I know that I know how to tank, I know how to use cooldowns, you know, like I know that, and I know how to pay attention to like my healer's mana and like where people are as far as like pulling too fast and things like that. But like I will never, like I was in a group earlier today and the healer started pulling packs for me and I was like, okay, like I must not be going fast enough. At that point I was like, all right, like I'm just gonna pull bigger. Like if you want me to pull bigger, then I will pull and like that's, I feel like that's how it should be, especially if your healer's pulling for you versus like how dare you pull for me. And I think that like that ego is bad for the game and bad for like representing tanks in general, you know. And so like I feel like that kind of non-verbal communication from your healer or DPS, like if a DPS did it, I think I would have been like, hey, like, you know, like chill out, like let's see what we can do first before we just start pulling really big, you know, because I think some people really want to just be like, let's freaking go. And like I get that, but at the same time, like if I can't handle it or if the healer can't handle it, like doing that kind of stuff is really gonna hurt you and hurt the game. And then like and then it just feels bad and then you feel like shit and then you don't want to play anymore. And so like it's just like, you know, like just chill, just play the game. It goes both ways though. If I'm not comfortable with more, there's probably a reason, and if you pull for me, I will not take them off of you, and if you die, oh well, you don't get to dictate how fast I tank. I'm still not comfortable tanking, and I've had several healers do this for me. It makes me not want to tank, especially when I ask them not to. Yeah, so if you ask them not to, if you're like, hey, like I'm not comfortable, because like I could definitely, when I first started playing the game, I was definitely very uncomfortable pulling big packs. And that's the other thing too, like it goes to the ego of the tanks as much as it does to really anybody else who feels like they can pull more. Like if somebody in your group's not comfortable doing that, whether it's the healer, tank, or even like the DPS is like, hey, like this is a lot for me to pay attention to, I can't really hit these things, I don't have a lot of AoE abilities or whatever. Like this game is casual enough, especially while leveling, that you should be able to voice that in a group, be like, hey, like I'm new, like I want to watch the cutscenes. Like people should be like, cool, like I'll chill, I'll wait for you, you know. Like I don't know when we got away from that. I was thinking about that today, like when I was in high school, like I get home and I'd like run home and hop on and play, and like we're just hanging, like we're literally like what we're doing right now. Like it would literally be me and like 8 of my friends just like hanging out in, like a big city, and we're just chilling. Like we're not even playing the game, we're just hanging out. Like when did we move away from that? Or like, you know, and then like you'd get on like a Saturday morning or something, and your friends would be on, they're like, hey, you want to go do a dungeon? And you're like, yeah, let's go. And like you go and you die, and then you guys are just like laughing about it, like why did you do that? And you're like, I don't know, I'm an idiot. And now it's like, why did you do that? And you're like, I don't know, I'm an idiot. And they're like, yeah, you suck, I'm never bringing you again. You know, like we've definitely like we've gone way past this culture of just like enjoying video games and jumped headfirst into like flaming people. I'm old school tank, old role play. You mean like you tank, you pull it, you tank it? I didn't start tanking with randoms for healers until I was confident in pulling big packs, especially because of healers pulling more for me. I'm still kind of the guy that won't pull things off DPS. Like honestly, I support, because I'm definitely like a you pull it, you tank it kind of person, especially in like a scenario where it's like progression. That definitely kind of annoys me a little bit. Like if it's like a dungeon where I'm just leveling and I don't know the people and they're being crazy, it kind of gets on my nerves a little bit. But at the same time, like if they're pulling too much and we die, then I'm like, all right, you need to chill. If they pull too much and we're fine and it makes me uncomfortable, I'm like, you know, and so it's I think there's a happy balance, and I think what I'm getting at here is like we should be able to have that communication between the 4 people that are in the dungeon, and anybody who thinks that they have some sort of ego above that where they can make the decision for the whole group, I think is wrong. If the tank says that he's not comfortable pulling big, the other 3 people in the group just say, okay, this is gonna be a little bit slower, I might be kind of annoyed by it, but like I'm gonna respect what the tank wants. Or if the healer's like, hey, like you pulled too big that last time, I don't think I'm gonna be able to heal through it, I'm new to this class, I'm new to this game, whatever, the tank should be like, okay, you know, maybe I'm a little annoyed, maybe I wish that I could pull big, maybe I like the big numbers, but you know, whatever, you know, I'm just gonna have to chill for that. If the DPS is pulling and the tank is like, hey, I'm not comfortable, or vice versa, the healer says, hey, I'm not comfortable, like we should be able, like as a culture in video games and MMOs, we should be able to have that sort of conversation. And I just feel like we're in a culture where we can't. It's a huge, I've been tanking, so I'm new to Final Fantasy. I'm not new to tanking, and so like I could talk about this forever. I love tanking. I love the group dynamics in MMOs where it's tank, healer, DPS. I just feel like it could be better.